Hi, this is Brad Jones with EDL 952 Module 1, my personal introduction. Personal information about my family. I've been married to my wife, Jerry, for 17 years. We have four children. Amber, who's 29, lives in Excelsior Springs, Missouri. Keely, who's 23, she lives in Oklahoma City. Hayden, he is 22, and he's at Oxford, Mississippi, where he's a junior at Ole Miss. And Eva, who's 18, she's a senior at Oskaloosa High School. Not technically one of my biological children or children by marriage. She's a student of mine and who moved in with us about a year ago. But she might as well be family. We have two awesome grandsons, Reed and Theodore. They both just turned one. They were born within 48 hours of each other last year, and two different states. So that was quite an adventure. As a family, we've lived in Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas, and now Kansas. Um, kind of education and work experience. I have a bachelor's of science from the University of Central Oklahoma. I have a master's in education leadership from William Woods University in Fulton, Missouri. I've been about 19 years in education. I started off in school suspension in Liberty, Missouri. Did that for 4 years. Then moved into the classroom where I taught majority of seventh and eighth grade American history, civics. Did have a year of senior government. So I've been an assistant head of middle school for 3 years. I was an athletic director and head football coach in South Texas for a year. And I'm currently in my third year as the junior senior high principal in Oskaloosa, Kansas. Size-wise, we're one of the largest 2A schools in Kansas. We jump back and forth between 3A and 2A, depending on enrollment. I think that we missed it by 4 students this year, being 3A. Like I said, I've coached football, track, basketball, and golf. Much better at football and track than the others. I've been a teacher and administrator in both private and public and independent schools. Um, Prior to education, I was active duty Air Force for a while. I worked in juvenile corrections, and I was a fraud investigator for a major cell phone company. And all through this, I was in the kind of in and out of the Air National Guard, and I retired from the Oklahoma Air National Guard in January of 2018. Kind of my goals in the future. My main goal here in Oskaloosa is to build a community and not a resume. Oskaloosa is very different from some of my previous stops. The last two schools I were college prep schools. One in Cassie School in Oklahoma City, and it was the top private school in the state. And then Fort Worth Country Day, where as assistant head of middle school, is one of the top college prep schools in the southwestern state of Texas. So coming to Oskaloosa, different community, different. I have a town instead of just a school, so there's a lot of differences. However, I love all the differences. Some more of the goals to know the story of every student who walks the hallways. Um, Inspire my students to move beyond poverty and find success. I want to keep and retain the best teachers, and I think that I've been able to do that. We pay them well, and we have a lot of teachers that have been in Oskaloosa for a while, so they know they could find other places to be, and it may be a lot easier, but they know they make a difference every day. I also want to create a schedule that takes advantage of the best of who we are and what we have to offer. So that's a process that I'm beginning, and I think it's about a 2 year process. And then final goals, relationships. For me, that is the key. Without relationships, nothing else matters, and that has been the big thing that I have focused on since I've been here. The future, I think for that, just kind of let the future take care of itself. As long as I'm doing other things, it will. Not really sure if I want to be a superintendent. Often said that I never wanted to be a principal. The most I ever wanted to be was an athletic director or maybe a dean of students. and see how that turned out. So, but if the right opening occurs and the right fit occurs, then I want to make sure that I have everything I need to move into that role. So, um, if it happens, it happens. It doesn't. But I think that the knowledge I gain from these courses will help me, even as a building administrator. Some emerging trends that I've seen: we have an increased amount of students who are in crisis mode. We have a high number of students who have spoken about suicide. I don't, in my 2.5 years, I have almost lost number of conversations I've had with students or students I've referred to mental health facilities. We have a growing number of percentage of students who are on anxiety or depression medications. So for me, a lot of who I am or what I want to accomplish in Oskaloosa is dealing with that. For us to become a academic institution, I think that I have to be able to address some of these needs. And working with my board, my superintendent, that's what we're currently trying to do. We have a low literacy rate. So one of the things that I started when I got here was a book club. So on our rotation schedule, every A day, it's a book club. The first semester, kids sign up for different novels that we've selected, and each teacher runs a book club on these books. And then the second semester, they can bring the book or magazine or whatever they want as long as they're reading. So um, I try to equate that with kids that love to work out. That if you don't have a solid core, then physically you're not going to get faster, you're not going to get stronger. And with literacy, that is the core of your education. So, other trends at Department of Education implementing more changes like the redesign project. Some of the reasons that we see these things going on: severe poverty, something that I really haven't had to deal with in any other school that I've been at, but that's the case here. Drug use and drug abuse. Parents, students, kind of goes back into those crisis mode. It's not uncommon for our parents to let the kids smoke weed or take prescription medication that's not assigned to them. So some of our kids are just self-medicating. Lack or no parental involvement. That's one of the biggest things that I've noticed since I got here. My first parent-teacher conference come from a school where you had probably 90+% of parents that would show up. Here, I had more teachers than I had parents. So working on that with one thing that we call Bear University that we implemented this year. It's where parents come in, we feed them, we provide childcare, and that we do sessions for parents on many different topics. It could be about vaping, could be about internet, proper cell phone use, could how to do checking accounts, how to do savings, just a wide range. And we let the parents talk about things or submit things that they would like to learn about. Another reason that we have the emerging trends is we're trying to appease politicians that probably haven't seen inside of a classroom since they graduated high school or college. So that's part of my frustrations coming in from a independent school where we were not regulated by a government agency. We weren't tested. We took one standardized test, and that was, and it had no impact on accreditation or anything. And where I know clientele is a little different, where the kids were sending off to Harvard, Yale, TCU, University of Texas. But I think that we're getting away from just educating our kids. And I think the politicians need to step back. But that's for another time. So, what emerging trends I'm interested in knowing more about? One is the big one, helping my students with mental health issues. Standards-based grading. We have a couple teachers doing it, and I'm trying to learn more about that. Flex mod scheduling. that's 2 years. That's my goal, and to move into that. Fortunately, I hired a teacher from the school that had implemented. He was a big part of the implementation, so I'm going to be using him, offering more college classes, but for free. I've seen a little bit of that trickling down out of KSDE. Because we definitely have our group of students who are college bound, probably have more that are more VOTEC or stay local, but definitely want to get as many kids as I can that education at a free or really reduced rate. Connecting students with businesses, I think that's a key part. Especially, I like to keep some of those good kids around that can be a part of the change of the community, and then getting families more connected with school. Again, part of that relationship aspect. Let me see. I think that is it. So, so that's who I am. I'm looking forward to this class. I've been watching some of the other videos. Um, uh, I think this is going to be a great group to be around. I think I have a lot to learn from some of you all, and just looking forward to that. So that's it. Have a great day. Happy New Year.